I'm doing laundry. You can hear it in the basement thumping away. It's saying, "I don't want to be clean. Take me out of here. It's wet. There's something called soap." See, my laundry knows what's good for it. Dirt. Good old-fashioned dirt. You think? Well, tomorrow at this time, I should be more or less flying through the stratosphere to go to Boston. And I have been loading up some of the art that I made here, some of the debris that I'm bringing back home, a pair of my dad's pajamas to wear, for example. We would buy my father pajamas that adults wear. I don't mean the kind with depends in them or anything. I meant, not that quote sleepwear that people pawn off these days as pajamas. Pajamas have a top and a bottom, and they match. They have buttons, and they have a drawstring. They don't have this elastic with this plaid bottom that you match with a short sleeve shirt top. That's not a pair of pajamas. It might be called sleepwear, but they misspelled it. It's stupid. They got the first letter right, and that's it. But we would give my father pajamas quite often, or buy them for him, or he would buy them by himself. And so consequently, there are probably a dozen pair of pajamas that are a little, hello, Frederick, I'm on a soapbox about pajamas, about how I have a belief that pajama tops and pajama bottoms are to match. None of this sleepwear shit that they sell these days. Young kids these days. So when we would buy pajamas from my father, we'd have to go to like an old-fashioned kind of store like Brooks Brothers or Macy's had them sometimes, but who knows who has them now, or even if they make them. So even though my father's pajamas are a little bit big for me, you can tell by my double chin that, yes, see, you agree with me. Top and bottom are made of the same material, the same pattern. And if I had my way, they'd all be drawstring. There wouldn't be any elastic. And there'd be buttons, not zippers, not snaps. And they'd have a pocket for your reading glasses or cigars or whatever you put in your pocket. They could have maybe, if they're silk, you can maybe have them be long like a dressing gown with big lapels and a little drawstring belt, but two belts around your waist is one belt too many. So one of the things I am doing Yeah, you could have sort of a Nehru jacket pajama, perhaps, pajama top without even a collar. I mean, not a floppy down collar like this. And people that wear things underneath pajamas are just fucked. There's no rhyme or reason to that. Okay, so I'm bringing back to Boston pajamas of my father's, pair of shoes that my father owned, which I'm now wearing. I should actually check to see if the other shoes he has would fit me because I'm shoe poor right now. But I can also leave them here because I'll be back here in 2. The rounded edge. Don't quite know what that is. No collar. Anyway, where was I going? You've got me sidetracked now. Shoes. I always think I'm going to leave pens here because the trauma that I go through every time I come back here is which pens am I going to take? And I think the next time I come back, I may be here for 2 months or maybe even longer, depending on how this what's going to happen to this house. So it may require more days with all hands on deck. So I'll probably bring back with me a lot more pens so I can have more play toys. But I also maybe want to bring pens that I might be able to sell too as well. So if I leave here the pens that I have been drawing with that are, quote, in my collection, unquote, that would be good because I have lots of pens at home that I can draw with that I want to keep. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll just leave the pens that are brought here to draw with. I will leave here. I'm letting that sink into my little tiny head. Can I leave my pens here? Is that even possible? Do I have to have them with me? No. Is there any pen I took with me that I really would miss when I go back to Boston? No. No. I will bring some back, of course, but I don't like your golf set. Do you still want that golf set, Friedrich, at some point in the future? Yes, please. Okay. I'll bring that back to Boston and send it off to you. I think I'll probably bring all of the pens that I brought here thinking I might sell back with me so I can continue to do that for a couple of months. And then bring them back. You want your internet back. the what was that noise? There is a last night we had a rather nice conversation with Brussels about the pens that he finally got from me 2 months after I put them in the mail, and I was very happy that he liked all of them. And one of the pens that he got is a little Schaefer Golf pen, and I sold it to him because it was the odd man out. You know, there was the ones he wanted, and there was the ones that he was thinking about. And I selected. I said, this one here, pointing to the golf pen, I think this is the one that you need because this is different from all the other ones. They were in the top drawer, but I brought them back here because when I came here, I wasn't sure how long I was going to be here, Frederick. So I put them in a box, and I put them in my suitcase to come back here. Well, I think that's good, Tasha. It's good to your fiance needs to do her work, so let's make that happen. No, I remember there was that Waterman with that weird clip. Was it a weird, odd something odd about it? And then there was, I don't know, I've got them in a drawer there. But again, when I come back to here from Boston, I completely forget about Boston. It all just disappears, and I'm back in high school when I'm here. And it takes me a good couple of days to remember where my bathroom is and which side of the bed I can get up out of and things like that. So it's quite an ordeal. If this house is sold and I end up sleeping in the guest rooms of my other brother or wherever hello Melissa, wherever this brother that lives here might end up living, and if I'm not coming back here, I think the idea of Boston turning into my home rather than my treehouse will come to pass. It'll sort of inherit that title of homeness. Sounds going to be very queer. If, on the other hand, my brother continues to live here and I end up owning part of this house, then this will always be home, I guess. Yes, Pierre in high school is a very scary thought. Do you want to see what I look like in high school? Frederick, you'd enjoy this picture more than anyone else, I think. Maybe. Maybe not. No, you'd get a kick out of it. Other people might be traumatized by it. here I am in high school. As a Capitan in the Kriegsmarine, not the Kriegsmarine, yeah, the Kriegsmarine. I used to collect uniforms once upon a time, medals and stuff. Dapper, yes. As a U-boat captain in Hitler's war effort. No, it was just a Capitan. It wasn't a Konteradmiral. 4 stripes. Heilige Scheiß, Konteradmiral. No, I had a lot of World War II German uniforms, not the SS stuff, but I had sort of the Wehrmachty stuff. No, the hair was that was a long time in the submarine without a barber. No, it's just a little creepy. I do have in the house here my father's stepfather was in Patton's army, and he did get from an officer that he, or dead body or something, an SA dagger, the brown handle, and Alles für Deutschland or whatever it is. But that's only the slightly more respectable branch. Seems to me sort of the coolest uniform I had was a motorcycle, the NSKK motorcyclist thing. And I got 2, and one was the brown shirt with sort of simple silver colored buttons. And the other one was the dress uniform, and it was the parade one. So it had the epaulets that sort of droop down that would be for the bandsman. Yeah, it's hard to know what level of creep outedness you are dealing with when you're dealing with Deutschland. But anyway. Is that what they're called? Swallows nets? They look like a snood for your shoulder. They're really funny looking. And were they on both shoulders? I think they were only on one shoulder. Those German uniforms were weird. The ones that had the epaulette on only one shoulder. Was that to equip the Sam Brown belt kind of thing? Make it easy without having to. They were on both shoulders. Okay. What I've forgotten about that collection is almost what I knew when I had it, but I ended up selling it all back to the guy I bought it from for a little bit of a profit in the 4 years or so that I collected it. I had about 10 officer hats, a couple of overcoats, anyway. Lots of medals. I kept most of the World War I era medals which I think I showed you, and a couple of other sort of creepy things I kept just because. Fringe. God, it's just weird. You know, the regalia rules. Your fringe, it just dances about when you're drumming your drum. I mean, why was that the case? Doesn't make sense. Fringe. Yeah. You know, Heiko, someone was saying the other day about me doing animal noises. They thought it was me making the noise. And I said, no, that's a dog. And they said, Audrey, can you hear? And someone said, that's not a dog, that's a squeaky door. Yeah, the rules are neat. The rules, you know, all the different color piping, you know, pink for this and yellow for that. And
shower.
And I wonder whether I'm standing up and my blood is rushing from my head down to the rest of my body, so I'm feeling faint. Sit down. Ikesh. So court is in session for the Derek Chauvin murder trial in Minnesota today. So let's hope that they find the police guilty. One of the things I'm bringing back with me to Boston is a selection of some of the jewelry my father made. There's one piece that I'm bringing back that is finished, but the rest of the pieces I'm bringing back are things that he had started and never completed. And I'm going to do a little YouTube video about that because his work is amazing, and I am trying to follow in his footsteps and try new things and see if I learn anything new. I've been having some success with watercolors for really the first time in my life. Oh, that's very nice, Frederick. I'm bringing some desk sets bases back with me that for some reason were here. I must have bought them here, I guess. Um, well, though they are nice, Melissa, they tend to be more plentiful in any collector's collection. Uh, so I don't think you. Yes, I didn't say the word junk, but and I'm glad you put inverted commas over that. But they are, many pen collectors would consider them, I don't think they would necessarily use the word junk, but that's essentially what they mean. It's beneath my dignity to consider collecting those things. And because they were inexpensive, it would be like a car collector collecting a Model T. Like, why bother? I've got Duesenbergs and Packards and Mercedes Benzes, and why would I want a Model T? Well, a Model T is a very important car in the world of cars, and even though they're very plain and came in black, uh, it's they're less sought after by most people who collect. So I wish I could be as generous and give them away, but I really can't. I will see, Melissa, whether I have an Esterbrook desk pen, though, that maybe you might enjoy trying out. Um, as well. Yes, play the lotto. Oh, um, I talked with a friend the other day, and he was very saddened. He had told his parents that he was gay, and they essentially sort of disowned him. It's just too bad that things like that happen in this day and age. Leo Arg, things are fine. How are you, Leo? Dude. Oh, Leo. What's up with you, dude? Dude. Who's your big brother? Well, I think it's easier for 9/10 of people to come up, but I think it's harder for the 1/10 because of the 1/10 of people that are really sorry I didn't listen. I don't know what that means. MSSN, missing. Sorry I didn't. I don't know what that means. Oh no, you can interrupt. I'm not saying anything. So why are you pissed off at your big brother? We'll change the subject to your big brother. Yeah, I know that. It's too bad, but it seems like the fact that they didn't allow their child to learn how to drive either suggests that there's more going on there than just general insensitivity. I see. Well, I won't ask what he did. But what do you do? I'm going to do another drawing of my Watchworks here, if I can. Trying to figure out a way to have fun with these watches that I've got. Who's been disus? I don't know who that disowned. Who's been disowned? A friend of mine. Well, maybe the parents knew something that you're learning now that that driving a car is not more complicated than EV can deal with, but maybe EV is the crazy driver underneath. Yes, it is. It is disowned. Yes, and it is awful. So, Leo, do you like fountain pens, or do you like old men, or do you like strawberry jam? Have we ever talked before, Leo? I don't know if I know you. Do I know you, Leo? I had a fun time yesterday drawing a friend of mine on Zoom. He's a very talented artist himself, but he's also an extremely talented poser model. Oh, hi, Evelyn. You know, it's
Oh, monster. You're just a little monster.
conversion camp. Yeah, it is. It is weird. See, here's my drawing so far. I just don't know what, I'm not necessarily asking that. I don't know. I'm just curious why you're in this room. Is it because you like pens, or you like art, or you like calligraphy, or you like drawing, or you like old men? There's some people that come to these rooms that like old men. Don't call me crazy. Call me crazy. I'm not the one that. You like all of the above? Okay. It certainly is the opposite of old. And so, Leo, are you a pen collector or pen user? Russell's. Oh, Leo. Of course, Leo. I'm sorry. I forgot that you're Leo. Sorry, Leo. Now I know who you are. Now I know who you are. Leo is Russell's friend from Italy, Sardinia, I think. I think Sardinia, right, Leo? Yeah, the fact that everyone has so many different names here is a very hard thing to keep people straight, as it were. And
I agree on both sides. We have one more little box to change. What's that? Just to the trash. It gets overfilled, I can't wait it out till. That one first. Look at this. Bye-bye. No monster, no. No. That one. Come on, Michael.
well, it's it's some people, it's that people have more names than one. That's always the hard part, is how many. It's not just one name. You have to translate the name from French to German, and from Skype to Insti, and from Insti to Facebook, and then back to Spanish. So it's always a clusterfuck of name acrobatics. I still have problems with these pens, these 45s. I can never, I always pick up the pen and start putting the pen down on the paper, and I end up hitting the wrong end of the nib. I have the nib turned. And it drives me crazy. And it works that way, but it works that way. So anyway, yesterday, Cedar Villard and I drew this guy named Apollo, and it was really a fun time because Apollo took really, really interesting poses and allowed us to draw him, and we spoke about art and drawing as we did it, and I was broadcasting here while I was on Zoom with them, but you can see the drawings that Cedar and I were doing as we were on Zoom together as well. So if you're interested, it's a little hard to see Cedar's drawings because he was his camera was far away from the drawing, but you might enjoy looking at it if you want. The insignia, the gold fill one. I think I have some Flighter 45 Flighters. I don't think I have an insignia. But I still wonder whether I will have the same problems of being unable to tell which way is down. Even when I put the cap on the pen. Maybe when I post it, I put the cap in the wrong direction. So I can easily get befuddled. Okay, Evelyn, it was nice seeing you, and I'm hoping your class goes well and you will soon learn to drive. A brutish simpleton, I like that description.
Okay, now we're ready to go.
Good old spooning. You know, spooning is not easy to come by when you have to be 6 feet apart from people. I'm turning my watch drawing into a World War I era razzle dazzle painting. No torpedo would hit this watch. That's for sure. So you're off to Afton.
I sure am. Yep, it's beautiful. Litter boxes are clean. Because they're picking up the trash. Good day to get that. All right, sweetheart, let's go.
Oh, I'm as gay as the day is long, Leo. June 21st has nothing on me. I'm gayer than June 21st even. Frederick might not be that gay. Probably. we are just in a, well, if Kesh was here, Kesh would hold up the straight and the straight. I was going to say the straight and narrow. I don't think he's necessarily narrow, but he certainly is straight.
Ciao.
What gay guy advice are you looking to looking for? Are you looking for gay advice? Sounds like you want us to help you to pick out what curtains would look good in your home. I think the chintz with the floral pattern would be perfect. One of my pen friends got a kick out of my 3/4 relatively gay roommate found an article in some sort of magazine that said 10 tips to make your house look as if a gay man lived in it, because it was about how to keep your house clean and tidy, and my house is about as messy as it could possibly be, so we don't all fit the stereotype. That's I think spooning with a friend sounds fine. Spooning sometimes can lead to something else, which is also fine. So, and if something else happens, don't sweat it. But just be very attuned to any feedback one gets as the spooning progresses from one step to another, because there might be some point at which a barrier or boundary is crossed. And sometimes that boundary is a lot of fun, and sometimes it's fun for a minute, and then it becomes very confusing and upsetting and everything else. It's I don't want to call it a slippery slope, because that implies that there's a cliff at the end, and I don't believe that one should consider a sexual action as being a cliff. But there is you know, there's cuddling here, spooning here, and there's frothy, all out, no holes barred, bump, bump, bump sex at the other end. And from keeping your feet on the ground and legs crossed sometimes is not easy. So my advice would be, the advice I would have is to spoon and don't move a muscle. Just once in my life, I have been in bed with a female who I liked very much, and she liked me very much. Underline the word very. And this was when I was essentially hiding sexuality from myself. So I didn't, you know, shove her out of the way, but I certainly was not comfortable. I was the cat in the skunk cartoons, you know, except I wasn't actually pushing away. And I was petrified, and I just sat there and did nothing and did nothing and did nothing and did nothing. And it just was uncomfortable for me to be in that position. But so I guess my advice would be to, if you're afraid of overstepping a bound, don't overstep it. Let the other person make that step. And then you, who might want it to go in a further escalation, shall we say, have to decide whether you want to do it or not. And that's when you might end up doing it, and then one might come to regret it, because it might harm the friendship, you know. So who knows? Am I giving any yeah, it can be done. You know, it's not impossible to do. It is a doable thing. It's just, it's not without its risks. And so just beware of I mean, other things, there's nothing wrong with other things happening. It's just that if the other things happen, you sort of both have to take responsibility for the other things happening. And sometimes that is not as easy to do as some might want it to be. I don't know if I'm making any sense. What do you think now? razzle dazzle pattern. Am I done with this one yet? I think I might be done with this one. I think I'm done with this one. What I'm drawing is this right here, this little watch. Well, I wish I could convince people that I do actual work for that the drawings that are doodles are actually much more interesting than the drawings that are painfully executed. I'm going to do the same thing using this pen. I'm going to make this one be more rounded rather than what's the word? Angular. Now, how do I turn this into something interesting? Same kind of thing, except, and then I just blurried it. Okay, let's take my brush, get it nice and wet. I'm trying to make my brushes do the same thing that my pen was, sort of this curlicue, loopy. How does that look, Gustafson? Yeah, and I'll remember who you are, Leo. I won't ask you embarrassing questions. I'm sorry about your brother getting into your business. Okay, now how am I going to do this? Oh, made some straight lines there. This looks like octopus guts rather than a watch interior. I'm just gonna let this dry. See what I can do with it. Maybe I'll add color to that one. I'll be right back. Oh, what am I doing, Pierre? Think. What are you doing? When I go back to Boston, I've got a lot of shit to do. I'm trying to do something. What am I doing? Facebook. Facebook? Is that what I want? Facebook? YouTube. That's what I wanted. I wanted YouTube. YouTube. Your channel. Edit channel, manage videos, testing, chatting, withdrawing a turnip. 20 views. It's fun about drawing. And the screw right here. I like how the screws each reflect different. My father, my late father, had in a collection of stuff, and it is a hunter's case watch made by the Elgin National Watch Company. And what I like about this watch, it's so completely worn. It was in Farmer Joe's overalls for every day is worn off. The plating underneath the gold plate is worn off, and now it's all, much of it's down to the very brassy bottom. And I just love this as an object. It's just so beautifully worn, just like his jeans are. And then he wants to know what time it is, if it's time for elk season to open or for victuals. He'll pop this up, and then you've got this, just this delicate ooh la la, hands and the little shiny bits on the little swags. And I just love the contrast of this to that. And the flip side shows even this thing is worn. Like, did he go? It actually does have a name on it, actually. I never even noticed it before, but the light is hitting it. Such. EHLERA? Alera? Or Alaire? I don't know if you can see, but there is a name there. And you flip that open, of course, and you've got all the fancy works on the inside. Now, this is a watch that my brothers and I inherited from my father. I don't think this was at all a heirloom of any sort. I know there was a watch that I gave him that is not an heirloom in that sense, a family heirloom. But anyway, so what I'm doing, if the cat can get out of the way, I've been coming up with ways of drawing these things on my iPad and on my phone, and rather on my iPad and on using my phone to draw on a piece of paper. So I came up with this idea where I would draw a watch showing both the inside, the face, and the works. So I draw two circles, and what I've done, this is now the third one of these I've ever done, and then I've got the crown here, and then the back side is the crown here on the bottom. So I sort of do a little switcheroo, and then the chain is just in between, just to fill up the page. So let's do this. Let's do it. So this one has the crown up here on a you just see this. The back is usually covered, unless it's one that has a glass back, which sometimes exists. So now I'm going to draw the back, and I'm drawing the back with the crown down at the bottom, and again drawing this sort of calligraphically. As you can see, I'm not measuring and taking out a compass to draw a circle. I'm drawing it with my bare hands. Oh, I'm looking down here for this thing. This thing is over here. Sometimes you see them on top of that device. That's what's fun about drawing watches, is they are so interesting. How different they all have a balance wheel, I guess, which is what I'm drawing right here. And they all have mainsprings, but sometimes there's, this has one gear that you see, one spring that you see, whereas other ones you see dozens of them, dozens of gears. I don't know if you see dozens, but you see a dozen, maybe a dozen. So here's what I'm drawing here. And
light?
No, I'm fine, thanks. And so now you're saying, well, gee, this is a boring drawing, Mr. Gustafson. Can't you do better than that? Of course I can do better than this. And I'll show you how I'm going to do better. So that is Calligraphic Elgin National Wants Company. It has the little designs right here. It has a serial number down here, which I don't even care about. Okay, it has another thing here. Bells are ringing, dings are whatever going on. And so now I'm going to take my watercolor. I'm using Waterman Blue water-soluble ink here. So now I'm going to take my big old fat watercolor brush. And I'm going to go, since I'm here, let's start with this one. I'm going to add a little bit of stuff here, watercolor, to sort of make it interesting. The sound in the background is a recording of the dog and the brother and maybe the cat. I don't know. Is the cat in that video? So it's really sort of fun drawing this way, where the ink dissolves and you can then sort of. I'm watching this video I made yesterday. Light sources and stuff. Now I'm not going to draw the shadow, I don't think, on this thing. Derisive. And this is a watch that, even if it was in perfect shape, I imagine this particular watch isn't particularly rare. But the fact that it's in such rough shape, I'm sure most people would say, well, it's valueless because of all of the trauma that it has. Well, you know what I say to them? F you is what I say to them, because they're missing the whole point of the beauty of this watch is the fact that it was well loved and well used by the person that Grandpa Jones or whoever it was that had this thing. And again, the thing cracks me up that the outside is so crusty and the inside is so lady boudoir sort of routine. And I like that change. So here's my little portrait of this watch. Whoops. What do you think? Why is there a shadow there? Where is that coming from? Here's my watch. What do you think? Write your answers below. Add to shopping cart $1 million. gonna go change my laundry around. Actually, I need to stop this because I'm almost out of power anyway. So this will be a perfect time to stop. Anyway, see you all later. Sorry I was so quiet, but what I like about this is that you guys can have a conversation all by yourself. Whether it be about bromances or about ink or pens or all sorts of stuff. So anyway, but I have to stop it now, so we'll see you later.